Julia Okujax. I'm Julia Okujax. Welcome, and this is Brandon. Welcome to yet another edition of Bandit. Hi, I said we'll be back, and here we are. Now, we're still talking about we're going beyond likes and shares and what we can do on social media. And in part one, we talked about knowing your brand identity and why it is okay not to know from the get go, and that it's important for you to continue nevertheless, but do the work. Don't compromise on your brand identity. The second thing I'd like to talk about today is your voice. Every brand has a voice. Some voices are very laid back, some are seductive, some are firm and authoritative, some are tentative, but know your voice. Some are fun, some are gossipy. All of them are brands. There is not one that is different from the other. There's not one that is better than the other. We have to be very careful about not trying to be gossipy when you are a factual person. You have to know. Sorry about the cock that's crowing in the background. I live in a semi-urban environment, so that happens from time to time. But that's part of the authenticity of my brand. So know your voice. Be very clear. All of us have, even if we sound like somebody else, it might be that we are taking on the way they sound, they're taking on their mannerisms by how they sound. Sometimes people say, oh, you sound like a father, you sound like a mother. And that's because we listen to people we admire and we want to sound like them. There are people who sound like their pastors. There are people who talk with the fervor of pastors, And that is because that's who's imprinted on them. That is who has influenced them in a positive way. And that's okay. But you also have to find your voice. And finding your voice is a very big part of your identity. I am that person who kind of sometimes I'm talking and I'm thinking at the same time. So there's some times when I'm going to be very assertive. There's some times when I'm going to be thoughtful. So my voice will go slow. But one thing I'll never be is to sound like I'm lost. That's not my brand voice. My brand voice is I know what I'm talking about. I will stay on topic and I will share. And when I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know, but I'm going to come back. And because I say I'm going to come back and I come back however long it takes, then that's part of my identity. Because as a promise keeper, personally, our brand is also a promise keeper. So that is part of finding your voice. Just find out, test it out, try it out. You must experiment. And as with all experiments, we start off sounding like other people. But after a while, you find out what works for you and you stick with it. You'll find out what people like about you and you stick with it. And that becomes your brand voice. I think we're going to do another part of this because I am enjoying it. There's so much that we can talk about likes and shares, which is what we would all love. But I think beyond that, we also want engagement. And we want people. Why do we go on social media? It's not just so that people will like and share what we have posted, our content, but so that they can also engage with us in a positive way that brings them the ka-ching. So let's do a part 3 of this, okay? See you next time.